You walk into the new job, the new team, the room full of people who all seem to already know exactly what they're doing, and a voice starts up in your head. I have to be brilliant here. I have to make the spectacular play and prove beyond any doubt that I belong. So you overprepare the flashy idea for your first meeting. You volunteer for the impossible thing. You swing for the fences on every single shot, and somehow you play worse than you ever have. You felt this. The harder you try to be exceptional, the more you tighten up, overthink, and trip over the basics you'd normally nail in your sleep. The brilliant play you keep reaching for sails just past the line, while someone calmer right next to you simply doesn't mess up and quietly comes out ahead. Here's the thing nobody tells you. In most of the situations you actually care about, trying to win is exactly how you lose. And there's a simple distinction that explains why. One that can lift an enormous amount of pressure off your shoulders this week. It's called winner's game versus loser's game, and once you know which one you're actually playing, the entire way you compete changes. Here's the idea, and it comes from a classic distinction in the game of tennis. In a winner's game, victory goes to whoever makes the most brilliant, exceptional plays. Picture two professionals at the very top of the sport. The points are won, earned with blistering shots the other person simply can't return. Pure skill creates the win. But in the loser's game, the outcome is decided by something completely different. Who makes the fewest mistakes? Picture two weekend amateurs instead. Nobody's hitting untouchable winners. The points aren't really won. They're given away on double faults, balls into the net, easy shots sailing long. In that game, you don't beat your opponent. Your opponent beats themselves, and most of the time, so do you. And here's the part that changes everything. Most of real life and work is a loser's game, but people insist on playing it like a winner's game. They reach for the spectacular, the genius move, the highlight reel moment when the game is quietly being decided by who simply makes fewer unforced errors. That mismatch, playing the wrong game, is a self-sabotage, and it reaches far past tennis. Most everyday work, driving across town, cooking a meal, running a long project, has a very same shape. You don't win by doing something dazzling. You win by not crashing, not burning it, not dropping the obvious ball. The outcome is mostly decided by the errors you avoid, not the brilliance you pile on. So most of the time, the real question isn't how do I make the genius play? It's the far less glamorous one. How do I stop making preventable mistakes? Because in a loser's game, consistency, reliability, and simply not beating yourself are what quietly compound into extraordinary results. No heroics required. In fact, the heroics are usually the thing that sinks you. Let me make it real. Picture someone who just made a college basketball team as a freshman pitcher. They're genuinely talented, that's why they're there, and they're absolutely determined to wow the coaches on day one. So they throw every single pitch at maximum intensity, aiming for perfect, untouchable, knee-buckling strikes, trying with everything they have to win brilliantly. And their performance completely falls apart. Reaching for perfect, they lose the very thing that made them good in the first place. Steady, repeatable, reliable pitches. Pitches sail wild, the walks pile up. The harder they strain for the spectacular, the worse it gets, and the more their confidence quietly drains away. Then a coach pulls them aside and says one thing that lands like a key turning in a lock. You're playing the wrong game. This pitcher had never succeeded by overpowering hitters in the first place. They succeeded by throwing consistent strikes and letting the batters get themselves out. Without noticing, they turned a loser's game into a winner's game inside their own head and started losing. And here's the aha. The moment they stopped trying to win every pitch and simply stopped losing, fewer wild throws, more reliable strikes, the results jumped right back, almost immediately. Nothing new was added. No secret pitch, no extra velocity. They just took the spectacular pressure off and let the consistency do the work. So how do you actually use this at work? Start by accepting that most professional environments, most jobs, most teams are losers' games. Picture starting a new role, feeling you have to prove you belong. The instinct most people follow is to swing big. The flashy idea, the dramatic reinvention, the look at me gesture that announces how brilliant they are, and that's exactly the trap. Reaching for highlight reel plays, you start overcomplicating simple things, overcommitting and dropping the ordinary balls that people actually notice. The move the model points to is the opposite, and it's almost boringly effective. Just don't beat yourself. Nail the fundamentals with relentless consistency, meet your commitments, communicate clearly, hand things off cleanly, reply when you said you would. Dependability compounds in a way fireworks never do. Then take it one step further and hunt your unforced errors. Instead of asking, what brilliant move can I make? Ask, what preventable mistake do I keep repeating? The late reply, the sloppy handoff, the thing you keep overcomplicating. Quietly remove that one recurring error and it'll do more for your reputation than any heroic play ever could. Now the personal side, and it shows up hardest in exactly the situation from the start of this video. Walking into a new room where everyone seems more impressive than you. Imposter syndrome leans in and whispers that you have to overhaul your entire approach to deserve a seat. Be louder, flashier, completely different, brilliant on command. So people reach for the grand gesture, the dramatic reinvention, the big swing meant to prove their worth. And it usually backfires, because trying to be someone you're not is a giant unforced error all on its own. The loser's game move is gentler and far more powerful. The qualities that got you into the room are still valuable. You don't need to prove anything spectacular. So play no unforced errors. Show up consistently, do the basics well, listen more than you perform. And it's the same in your relationships and your habits. We chase the grand romantic gesture or the dramatic life overhaul. One steady, reliable, almost boring consistency is the thing that actually wins. Showing up again and again without making the same avoidable mistakes. That quiet consistency compounds into something far stronger than occasional fireworks ever could. Now, before you go playing safe defense in every corner of your life, here's the catch, because this model has two backfire modes people fall straight into. The first trap is misreading the game. Not everything is a loser's game. Some arenas generally reward brilliance, a creative breakthrough, a startup that lives or dies on one bold idea, the elite tier of any field where everyone is already nearly error-free. In a true winner's game, playing it safe and just not losing is a slow, certain way to lose. So the first move is always ask honestly, which game is this, really? Don't slap just don't lose onto a situation that's quietly begging for one bold swing. The second trap is letting don't lose curdle into don't try. Avoiding unforced errors is not the same thing as avoiding all risk. Some people hear this idea and use it as permission to be passive, timid, and forever defensive, and then quietly mistake that for discipline. That's not the point at all. The entire reason you cut the dumb preventable mistakes is so you're steady enough to take the smart swings when a real one finally comes along. Don't be yourself, but don't refuse to play either. So here's the whole thing in one sentence. Most of the work in life is won by avoiding unforced errors, not brilliant plays. So figure out which game you're in, and most of the time, stop trying to win and just stop beating yourself. And here's your one move this week. Identify one unforced error you keep making. The late reply, the overcomplicated thing, the avoidable slip, and simply remove it. No heroics, just one fewer way you beat yourself. And tell me down in the comments, what's one unforced error you're cutting out this week? Subscribe for a new mental model every single week, and I'll see you in the next one.